Repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. Bo Burnham had that song in his second special called Repeat Stuff, where he was making fun of people falling for propaganda, among other things, and how pop music is predictable. Repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. But repeat stuff, that's some wisdom. Repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. Do it again, say it again, do it again, say it again, do it again, say it again. I was hanging with Brett late last night. We were playing music and we were working on some simple stuff, doing it again and again and again, and playing and singing stuff. And then if it wasn't 100% perfect, doing it again. And even if it was perfect, doing it again just to reinforce that we have it. Repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. I think people fail because they underestimate the volume of repeating stuff you must do in order to achieve an extraordinary result that's worth something. You have to get at the piano and play scales and simple melodies and songs again and again and again and again and again. You don't really get it right. Start getting it right on the first try until you've played thousands of different patterns and scales and exercises and songs and licks. You have to repeat stuff again and again and again. I'm just made aware of this too, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And this truth about music, ooh, there's a wedding party over there, awkward. This truth about music is true about business, it's true about comedy, it's true about teaching, all sorts of things. Sometimes it can be hard to make a video because I'm like, I don't have anything new to say. It's like, doesn't matter. Repeat stuff, say the same things, because learning, we're not machines that can just hear a piece of information and immediately absorb it and 100% have it mastered. We need to hear stuff in new ways and say stuff in new ways and just be open to repetition and the magic that comes out of repetition. You know, people, if you've ever read a book more than once, if you've ever read a book 2 or 3 times, on the second read through, you always learn something new, even though you're treading old ground. If you listen to a song multiple times, you're going to hear new things on the second listen. If it's a great song, you might hear things on the 100th listen. So it's going to be something new to hear. So repeat stuff. Don't be afraid to repeat stuff. Especially in the realm of music, I am pro listen to one album 100 times rather than listen to 100 albums once. Because if you listen to one album 100 times, you're going to listen for all sorts of things. You're not just going to hear the melody, but you're going to hear the grooves, the bass lines, the chord progressions, the textures, the orchestrations, the harmonies, the production. There's so many things to listen for. So you listen again and again and again, and you're going to hear new elements each time. Repeat stuff. Same with playing a song. You play a song again and again and again, it's going to have new meaning. I was made privy to how powerful this is at the open mic last night, at the Second Chances open mic. So I have this joke about Gibby from iCarly and how Dan Schneider, who I guess was pedotastic with all those kids, would produce that show. And I just think back how Gibby's shirt was off all the time. And my joke is basically that because I was a fat kid who liked to take his shirt off because it was funny, I feel like Gibby took his shirt off one time and Dan Schneider was like, yeah, that's the good stuff, and started making him take his shirt off for the show. And I was telling this joke and nobody was really laughing. So rather than just go, okay, I screwed it up, I'm going to move on, I said, I'm going to give basically all my time to trying to make this joke work. And I'm going to just keep repeating, Gibby from iCarly, the show on Nickelodeon from the early 2000s, he took his shirt off. And I made it funny by spiraling it out of control and sticking to the source and repeating myself and not just going, oh, that one didn't work, let me abandon ship and go in another direction. Let me repeat stuff. Let me double down. Let me dig into exactly where I'm at while I have this time on stage, because you know, it's kind of obvious now, but if you go to an open mic every night, you get 5 minutes on stage each night, and if you dedicate 30 seconds to your Gibby joke, and then the next night dedicate 30 seconds to your Gibby joke again, and the next night 30 seconds again, that kind of doesn't work. But if you spend the whole 5 minutes telling your Gibby joke until stuff starts to come out of it that starts to connect with the audience, until you start to understand where you're losing them in the telling of the joke, you get way deeper. Repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. I get scared to... No, I won't go there actually. I also think just in terms of running a business, it's easy to try to reinvent the wheel all the time, but repeating stuff is the key. Like consistently counting the merch. Count the merch every Monday, pretty much without fail. If it's not on Monday, it's on Tuesday or Sunday, but we are weekly counting the merch and weekly inputting that and repeating stuff and saying, this is a system we're putting in place to make the business run better. We do it every week. Repeat stuff. I do the show report after every show. We just have these things that we do to repeat. You know, when an item sells out, buy that item again. Don't try and come up with a new item. Repeat stuff. Use what works and go with it. And I think for people learning things, often they want to skip the step of repeating stuff. And there's this like desire for novelty, this desire to say, oh, I did that yesterday, I want to do something new. But there's new things to uncover under the repetition. By going on the same path again, you'll find new things. You know, think about, I love nature. Think about if you came and looked at this little thing every day. This isn't even a full trail. This is just trees. If you came every day and looked out here, how many new things would you find? Look, there's a ball over here. I think that's awesome. But if you came and looked once, you can capture a lot, right? Wow, there's all this green, and there's the water, and there's some trash over there, and this has big leaves, those have small leaves. These trees don't have leaves. There's a little bit of fall coming up on those trees. If I came here every day and just examined this every day, I would find something new in it each time. And maybe not even necessarily like a new color, well, probably a new color and a new shape, but more specifically, I could turn hanging out with this nature into a repeatable thing that can constantly give me inspiration, constantly remind me that the world is just exploding with life. These trees are on a mission to go up, go towards the sun, and we can explode with life too and be on a mission too. And the tricky thing to balance is having creative energy, wanting to do exciting, new, fresh things, and knowing what needs to happen iteratively to create systems and structures and to give you skill sets. Because there's kind of two things here. It's like you repeat stuff when you're working on a skill. You know, it's RuneScape brain. Like you mine the rock, you got 500,000 experience till 94 mining, and so you just click the rock again and again and again. It's like sitting at the piano. You just play your C scale with the metronome at 40 beats per minute and make it whole notes. And unless you can do that 5 times in a row without making a mistake, there's room to grow on just playing your C scale vertically. You know, you don't have to try and play a harmonic minor scale or a D diminished whole tone scale, like whatever. That stuff is cool and fun to learn about, but it's more important to say, okay, what if I take the basic 7-note major scale, and I repeat it until I can play it with extreme authority, until I've see all sorts of different connections, until I really understand where the chord tones are, where the half steps are. I really understand when to cross my fingers, really understand how to play it in my right hand and my left hand. Got to repeat stuff. You also repeat stuff as a speaker, a storyteller, a teacher, an entertainer, for emphasis, for impact, for comedic effect. Repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. Also, if you're following an evil political regime, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. Repeat stuff is actually a way to get people together. You know, it's memes are repeat stuff, right? And Sneezy has the Sneezy is a funk band meme. And that is a phrase that is fun to say, so it's repeatable, so people copy it. It propagates. It spreads the brand of the band by being something that is begging to be repeated and iterated on. It's begging to say, hey, you're creative if you just say this again. If you just say Sneezy is a funk band, you are creative because you are partaking in a piece of culture that grows, and then you can iterate on it. You can say Sneezy is a tree band, Sneezy is a attending wedding band, Sneezy is a van band, right? And you can iterate on it. If you know about the meme, you know, but if you don't, we have a giant stop sign that says Sneezy is a funk band on it. And we have stop sign stickers we sell and hand out that say Sneezy is a funk band. And the meme, it's a meme basically about how it is challenging to tell people what style we are because it's so eclectic and fun and unique. Truncating that conversation that's not very a fruitful one into a stop sign. Stop, Sneezy is a funk band. It's so, oh, I love it. I could stroke my own ego about how brilliant that is for hours and hours and hours, but I'm already full of myself enough. I don't need to be more full of myself. So yeah, the theme of today, what time we got, Danny? Oh, I can't even check. I think I got a few more minutes. I gotta play a wedding ceremony here in a second. But the theme is repeat stuff. And this is true in running a business. You have to figure out what the actions you have to take that you repeat to make the business work. You have to repeat them. You have to stay consistent with it. You have to figure out counting merch helps us sell more merch. So we do it every week. We don't skip it. We have orders, we count it, we document it. We found getting in the van and going to gigs basically every Saturday keeps the van going. So we do that every week. We've structured our lives so that we can give our weekends to getting in the van. This is one of the only weekends we have off all year, and it's because of a family event for one of the band members. Repeat stuff in business like that you iterate on, and also when you're working on something, repeat stuff. Repeat the thing you're working on. Do it multiple times. If you're learning to draw, you wouldn't just draw one dog. Probably say draw 100 dogs. Try to draw the same dog 100 times. Draw 100 squares and 100 circles before you try and draw a box, right? Like a real thing. And then also with philosophy, with teaching, with spiritual growth. Here's one more thing I'll say is that hearing something again is not bad, and people get stuck because they aren't willing to hear something they've already heard as if it's the first time you've heard it. And when you repeat something, you've actually changed the context for it. I could say, the sky is blue. The sky is blue. And the second one means something different. It's like, why did he say it twice? It's like, wait, what color is the sky actually? Because it's kind of blue there, but it's different here. By saying it twice, it changes the meaning of actually both of them. And so in addition to repeat stuff to yourself and hear it as if it's the first time you've heard it, to try and get new meaning out of it. Look at this tree, dude. Wow, I love trees. I love trees. All right, gang, I'm gonna go. Love you. Bye.